So here we are at Fenton's Rink, and if you're thinking, why is that door open over there? That's going to melt the ice, that's not going to be any good. Well, that sort of is good, that's sort of the idea, because the season is finished now. The rink is silent. Well, it's not silent because some idiot's cutting the grass out there, but the rink is silent from the cries of sweep or T-line or maybe hack or maybe guard. Oh, it's hogged, as the sweepers try in vain to judge where the stone is going to end up. So you can see the stones lurking on the carpet at the end of the ice there, and it's basically melt the ice time. We turned the chiller off over Easter, which meant that the glycol was still pumped around under the concrete, but it was pumped around warm, and that's helped to free the ice from the concrete. So I'm at one of the hog lines here, and this is probably the best way of showing you this. This might end in tears, that the ice is actually loose, still in one piece, but it's actually loose of the concrete floor, and that will make life a lot easier for loosening it up and getting it down to the far end, which is over there. That far corner is where I particularly want to get it to. On the way round to the far end, you can see the ice paint there that was used to mark out some of the lines for the points competition. That's all starting to smudge and smear. And look at all that dirt on the ice. That's all the fluff that people, what's the word? People shed as they're playing a game of curling. It just gets trapped in between the layers of the ice. Pretty messy. More fluff, black mess, and the tape, which we take away from the side of the rink, because we want to get rid of the retaining board. There's a board at the end here that blocks off a lot of the water when we first put the ice in. And actually, while I'm here, a lot of people who don't believe that these long lines marking our wool, they think I'm winding them up when I tell them. Here we go, the wool is just about free now. So, there we go. When we put it in, there's me at one end of the rink and some other idiot down at the far end. And there we go, that's the woolen lines. That's how you get a nice, sharp, clean line. Not so straight now, is it? So here we are, right in the corner of the rink. See that little hole there? That one. That's where a lot of the water, that's where a lot of the water is going to go through. And it's this board here. That's the retaining board that we put in before we actually put the ice in. So that's going to come out, and that will also get a lot of the water out. And at the moment, it's then just a case of breaking up these chunks of ice. So it's not particularly good curling ice at the moment, as you can see. I think that might throw a rock off course, but that's what you get when you get to the end of the season. There's the hack there. The hack's a bit like the wool. I put in a few layers in as we put in the ice in, layer by layer at the beginning of the season. And you can see the old shimmer of the lights reflecting off the water, which we'll get when we put in the ice in, and of course we're getting it. Now we're taking the ice out at the end of the season. So I'm going to put the camera down, I'm going to get the pickaxe, and I'm going to start to get to work on some of this ice. So here we are, a couple of days later, and the ice has obviously melted a bit more. Not surprising there. Now, I can walk on these bits, because these bits are dry. Look at that mess. That is around one of the hack areas. Dirty curlers. Dirty. Just one little speck of fluff. If it doesn't get picked up and it gets encased by a layer of pebble, that's it, it's staying there for the rest of the season. And then obviously when the layers melt, all those flecks drop down on top of each other and build up. That's why you get that mess. I say, the floor's dry here. With a tap dance. But obviously there's dips in the floor, so there's quite a lot of bit where there's water, and this is where brute force has to come in, I'm afraid. Brute force and ignorance, where we've got to squeegee the water down from down from that far end down to this near end. It's got to go under there where that batten has actually, that batten's gone now, so one of the hacks there. So let's go and squeegee some, see what the water's like up at the far way down the rink. Now if I were to think, oh okay, it's just water, I'd be wrong, because look, hang on, ooh, don't know if you could see that, that's a bit hairy. Some thin ice there with water underneath it, so I'm going to have to be careful when I get down to the far end. This could end in tears. So, down at the near end now, or the home end, squeegee in hand, and as I squeegee, cool, yeah, see all the dirt underneath there. So a lot of that is just freestanding water now. As I start to push down towards the far end, it doesn't take long before I hit more chunks of ice. See, I'm into the ice. Ice again there. So you can see it's quite, oh, loads of ice there. So see, it's quite a long process getting rid of this ice. It's just a case of turning it off and coming back next season. So I'm going to get to work with this now.